Hello students, welcome to the e-learning classes of Rogers Academy. Today, last class if you remember children, we have studied about the very first chapter and I just gave you an introduction about what is history and why do we need to study history, okay? So today in this class, moving forward, we move to the part 2 of the class and we will be discussing in this class about the division of the past of mankind, okay? So for that you can just open your book. It's already there in the book. Okay, page number 2 of your book. Understood? Yeah. So shall we start? Yes. So human beings have evolved over a period of time in different phases. They did not become suddenly a Homo sapiens, right? There was certain kind of evolution taking place, and with the help of that, human beings became more knowledgeable and attained certain knowledge. Now, how did that happen? That happened over a period of time. Okay, so if you see your book, page number 2, it's already written there. The past of mankind is divided into 3 main periods. Just below down here, this paragraph. Yes, prehistory, pro-history and history. Okay, so there has been 3 divisions if you see in the past of human beings, and that is prehistory, pro-history and then history. Now what is prehistory? Pre means what? Prehistory was a time or was a phase in the history of mankind when there was no written records available. Okay, we cannot know about them in detail. Why? Because there is no source of we being informed about their history, because there was no written records available to study about the prehistoric human beings. Understood? So no written records in prehistory. Now moving further, when we developed a little bit and we came to the stage of pro-history, though little bit of writing or invention of records had started, but still they could not develop a clear and a fixed writing style. So even in that phase, we cannot get the information about that particular phase or how the human beings at that time lived. We don't have the information regarding that period as well. Then we move to history. Now what is history? History holds a very important place. Why? Because it was a phase when writing was invented. Okay, written records were invented. We could learn about the history or about the human beings in the past through what? So many sources were available back then because writing was invented at that phase. Which phase? History. Okay, so now see how they used to write. If you just see the book, we study prehistory with the help of archaeological sources like tools, weapons, fossil, rocks, pots, coins, historical ruins and monuments. So if we want to study the prehistoric time, there is no written literary sources is not available. But what was available back then? Weapons, archaeological sources were available, okay, such as tools, weapons, rocks, coins and even the monuments. So if we have to study the prehistoric time, we have to look into which sources? We have to look into the archaeological sources, which means we have to study the tools, the weapons and the rocks, monuments that people of that period of time have used. Understood? Then even history can be divided into following 4 periods, that is the Stone Age, the Copper Age, the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. Understood? So they have again under this prehistoric time, human being evolved slowly and steadily. From Stone Age they moved to the Copper. Firstly they began using the stone, then slowly steadily they moved further, they became more developed. Okay, so they started using copper. And as they moving forward, they started using bronze, and by the time they started using iron. Understood? So when they were started using iron, we can imagine that they were much developed than what they were when they used to use stone. Understood? So pro-history. Now moving forward, we come to pro-history. Pro-history refers to a period between prehistory and history, isn't it? So pro-history lies between the prehistory and history, during which a culture and civilization has not yet developed a writing style. Till then, even the people of that time did not develop any sort of a writing style. That means no written records. Okay. Then history is the period that began after the invention of writing. So in other words, the period of our past for which we have written record is called history. Writings, now where they used to write, people at that time didn't write directly on the paper because paper was not there back then, right? They slowly and steadily discovered paper. But then before then, where they used to write, they used to write on rocks, they used to write on the pillars like this, they used to write on clay tablets, they used to make a tablet out of a clay, and copper plates. So these were the things where they used to record down their writing things. Okay, after the invention of paper, it became easier to maintain written historical records. When the paper was invented, it became very easy for the human beings to maintain a proper record. Okay, and then human beings started compiling or making a bunch of all the written records, and those written records are known as manuscripts. Understood? Man started compiling handwritten books known as manuscripts. Is that clear? So for today, I hope this much is clear for you all. So today we studied about the division of the past of mankind, moving from prehistory to pro-history, and then the history where the invention of writing was invented. Back then, when there was no writing, how the historians used to study about the history with the help of the weapons, tools, and rocks, fossils, monuments. These were the things how they used to study about the history. Okay. So thank you. We'll meet in the next class in the part 3. That is the last part of the chapter. Okay.